Ezra Levant here on the streets of Davos at the World Economic Forum. And, we've been coming here for several years, and we've, believe it or not, gotten to know some folks, including an excellent social activist, Fernando Morales-de la Cruz, who believes in fighting against child labor. That is a major scourge around the world. We might not think about it in Canada, but it's a serious problem. Fernando, why don't you give us an update on the state of child labor across the world?
Well, first of all, I have to tell you that Canadians have child labor in their coffee, in their lunch, and in their dinner. And as every one of us also, they have child labor in their smartphones and in their laptops.
You're right.
In their
We don't think about that because we don't see it.
Yes.
Because it happens far away.
Yes, but brands from Apple to Zara all use child labor, and even luxury brands. So I'm here complaining because 54 years the WEF has been saying that they are improving the state of the world or having entrepreneurship for the common good, and unfortunately it is the opposite. They have increased misery, hunger, malnutrition, and there are hundreds of the top 1,000 companies in the world, which are actually members of the WEF, that actually have in total more than 75 million children. This is absolutely unacceptable because, how many children are they going to have before they stop? This has to stop immediately because not only is it cruel and illegal, the press is the problem. There are very few journalists like you trying to hold power to account. And
wow.
Nobody's even tickling the dinosaurs, as I tell my daughters. Somebody has to tickle the dinosaurs and make them move. And worse, if we have here world leaders and people like Chrystia Freeland and others, they should actually be complaining to the corporates instead of saying, yeah, don't worry, in Canada, we are going to legalize child labor, as is happening. There's a law in Canada, Bill S211, which unfortunately doesn't stop child labor. And in the parliament, a former friend of mine, I say former because I disagree totally with what she did, Senator Miville Deschênes, put forward a proposal which became law that only protects the companies that exploit children by allowing them only to make a report, and then they are not liable.
Just a report. That's crazy. Now, you mentioned to me you had something you wanted to show, and I can see you had like a poster in there. What can we take a look at that?
Sure, I can show you. This is one of the hundreds of cartoons made by cartoonists from all over the world complaining and protesting against the World Economic Forum. This cartoon is especially important because it is about ESG investments. And Canada has the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, which actually...
Very large, very large.
Yes, and we are talking about a lot of money. But the money is not theirs. The money is from the teachers who work very hard and actually are educating children in Canada. But the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan is also a shareholder in companies that have slavery.
So let's take a look. It says WEF, improving the state of the world, ESG investment class, but you've changed what the letters are. E is exploitation, S is slavery and child labor, G is more gains.
Yes.
And Dr. Schwab, BlackRock, Church of England, Catholic Church, ABP Netherlands, Norwegian Pension Fund, Ontario Teachers Pension Fund. So these are massive investing. We were just talking about BlackRock.
They have more than 10 trillion. It's a little amount of money, 10 trillion.
They talk about ESG, but you're saying it's just it's just like we've heard the phrase greenwashing or pinkwashing.
Investor fraud. But here we have Dr. Schwab. It's a very important cartoon by Paco Baca from Mexico, where a little girl is complaining to Dr. Schwab.
And he's got the corks in his ears, has earplugs.
He doesn't want to hear it. But the truth is, 54 years claiming to be improving the state of the world, and there are tens of millions of children who work in the supply chain. Every coffee we have here in Davos has child labor and slavery. We can continue like this because the coffee growers receive less than 1% of what we pay for a coffee here, which is 4 francs 50 or 5.
Fernando, have you had any luck? I mean, every year you're so passionate. I love to see you. You're such a friendly and engaging personality. But you talk about difficult things, and you've come to their party. They don't want to think about these tough things. If anything, they want to cover them up. Have you had any luck? Is there anyone on the inside who's open to your message?
Well, I must say that I'm grateful to the Holy Father, who from Rome has been sending messages, especially just a few days ago, he sent a message complaining about the complicity of the media in regard to child labor. Of course, within the WEF, there are a few people who are actually fighting inside. I rather not name them because they are very few, but they are the very few who say, we have no business in slavery and child labor, and every one of us should get out. There are companies that have begun to do that. I can say IKEA, for example.
IKEA, yep,
Yeah.
okay.
But IKEA did it because it's a family. So the Kamprad family has a CEO, and this CEO is very passionate, and he says, we don't want anything to do with this, and they're working on it.
Well, that's good to hear.
It's, let's say, 99% good. It's already good. But there are some companies here like Nestle that exploit millions of children, Unilever, McDonald's, Starbucks, and I can continue, but they add up to more than 75 million children. And I would like to tell the Canadians, who are, most of them are wonderful human beings, to think that when they are eating something from Mexico, tomatoes or strawberries, or drinking coffee, or having a chocolate or with sugar, it has child labor. But it's not the fault of the Mexicans. It's the fault of the Canadian companies which are exploiting the people, or the American companies which are multinationals, or Nestle. And all of these companies have business models based on exploiting the weak and the poor. And I hope the next Prime Minister of Canada, we don't know who it's going to be, it's a little bit more serious, because in Canada, there's also child labor, even in Quebec. There are children exploited picking strawberries. Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Well, Google it.
Fernando, it's so nice to bump into you, and thank you for giving us a strong message. And do you have a website or something we can check out?
The most important thing is to Google my name, Fernando Morales-de la Cruz. I let others like you interview me, and whatever you post, people will be able to learn. And thank you so much for this opportunity, because the Canadians have to stop being indifferent. They can change things by also writing to their representatives and demanding zero slavery and zero child labor. Thank you so much.
Great to see you again. There you have it. Fernando Morales-de la Cruz, an activist against child labor. 75 million kids around the world. Shocking to hear. To follow our reports and to help cover our crowdfunding to get out here, please go to wefreports.com.